upon us. The clouds are rolling in. There's no sign of stopping. There's no place to win. Every day's a sin. So will you lead me to my holy grail? I'm always seeking pleasure. I'm never satisfied. Oh, may I have another? It goes unjustified. It's who I am inside. Or just lead me to my holy grail. Can he ever be found? Will my feet touch the ground? Can he ever be found? Will my feet touch the ground? It's a modest living, but it's where I land. It's self-sabotaging. He's anything but bland. Oh, I need a helping hand to lead me to my holy grail. Can he ever be found? Will my feet touch the ground? Can he ever be found? Tell me now.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only local live streaming podcast of its kind. We're coming to you from the Accelerator building in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene, and tonight we're here with Nanticoke rock band Mellifluous. They're playing some songs in this special guest studio, and we're talking about how singer-songwriter Frank Marcinkowski transitioned from a solo act to a trio, the formation of the band, and the choosing of the often mispronounced name. Their debut EP, Just High Enough, the making of their first music video for Holy Grail, signing a management deal with special guest, choosing the right songs to cover, venues they played, much, much more. So please stay tuned for the full hour. We would love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. So anything you want to add to the conversation, anything you want to ask these guys, make sure to leave that down there, and we will get to them later in the show. Before we dive in, I just want to thank our sponsor, Special Guest, who has provided us with this great office space and equipment to make this podcast possible. And Special Guest is a talent booking marketplace, making it easier for talented people to get discovered and booked. It was founded in 2017 by actor-comedian Damon Wayans Jr. alongside local entrepreneur Chris Jones. Check them out at specialguestapp.com or download the app on iTunes or Google Play. They also just launched Merch Booth, a free program to help artists and talent professionals create and sell merch online and in person at shows. Many local musicians are already using it right now, including these guys. Actually have one of their shirts right here. Show off. It's a nice looking shirt there. I like the one too. There's a black and white one with like a lion on it and stuff. Really, really cool stuff. So that's at merchbooth.com. NEPA Scene is on there as well. You can get some of our stuff. So take a look. New shirts, hoodies. Oh, John's going to... Yeah, there we go.
There it is. There we go.
There's that visual representation. There we go.
That's a hot tea right there. That's a hot tea.
We'll iron yours before you got it.
But yeah, so go to merchbooth.com if you are a local artist of any kind, musician or any kind of other entertainer, and you can get a free merch booth online where they'll handle all the shipping and stuff, and you just got to upload the designs, and they'll even help you with that as well. We also have Parlor Beverages, who have provided us with the best fucking root beer out there now. They have root beer, birch beer, and butterscotch, and you can get these at many local grocery stores like Garrity's, as well as online. If you want them shipped directly to you, you can visit drinkparlor.com, use promo code NEPA Scene for 10% off. Have you guys had Parlor before?
Oh, definitely. Every time.
Yeah, a little taste, yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite out of the three?
I'd say the birch beer.
The birch?
Same.
Yeah. That's what I got here actually. Always got to have one of those when I'm here.
For sure.
So feel free if you guys want to pop one of those open during the show, by all means.
Thank you.
Yeah, get the birch.
Now, let's jump into the interview. What got you interested in music originally? When did you first pick up an instrument?
Well, for me, I have musicians on both sides of my family. Mom and dad. Well, not them, but my mom's father was a big musician, and then my dad, his whole family, like he had he was one of six, and everybody in the household grew up playing something. So
Okay.
yeah,
So it's kind of inevitable.
definitely, yeah. And then out of nowhere one day, I was driving. I remember I was in second grade, and we drove past a music store in Nanticoke, and I saw a guitar in the window, and like anything else that I drove by as a kid, I was like, Dad, I want one. so we walked in, got sized up like a little mini acoustic, and then he said, if you want me to buy this, you have to commit to lessons. So then we scheduled lessons right there, and that was my first guitar.
Nice.
First instrument.
What were some of the first things you learned to play?
I started off really progressive. Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and then I think
It's a
after
deep
that
one.
was a Happy Birthday. Yeah.
Oh, the deep cuts.
And then,
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I think I pumped it up from there. I did Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
That's got some nice lead work in
Yeah, yeah, which is actually the same as the alphabet.
Yeah, that's the same song.
Yeah, same song. So little 2-for-1 action there. And then took lessons for a while. Then eventually went over to electric guitar. Did a little bit of drum work in the school band when I was younger. So that translated over to a drum set, so I can play some of that. And it wasn't until after high school I started to sing. took some singing lessons, and I was trying to start a band right out of high school. And I looked at all the other guys and I said, all right, which one of us is going to sing? I looked, everybody just kind of turned their heads. They're like, all right, well, it's got to be somebody. And
right.
It was me.
How about you?
Well, when I first started playing, probably right before I turned 16, my dad was playing guitar. My brother just started, who's 2 years younger than me, started when he was 12. So once my brother started, my dad started getting back into it. So there's always someone was playing guitar around the house. And I was always, into bands and listen to music. And I'm like, I got to get into this. I got to get involved in this. And I remember it was like a big thing, end of sophomore year. I'm thinking, I want to play something. I know what. I messed around with the guitar a little because my dad and my brother had a guitar. And for some reason, I remember like looking in a magazine and just being like, oh, what's a bass? Like, what is this? Like, and I just thought it looked so cool. It was like a bigger guitar, bigger strings, Yeah. And without trying one, I remember telling my dad, I wanted to give this a shot. And for my 16th birthday, he bought me one without trying one. And just as soon as I picked one up, it was like, yeah, this is my instrument.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew right away.
Yeah, full-time bass player, not just a guitarist that picks a bass for the band.
Right.
That's what we needed. Yeah. Full time.
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Probably in high demand, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah.
To find a full-time
don't mention that to Frank though. Touchy subject.
Yeah.
So when did you decide that you were taking this seriously? Was this something that right away that you really wanted to do all the time for a living, or was it something that you kind of grew into over time?
Well, I was fortunate enough to start taking lessons from a guy named Lenny. That's actually how I met Joe.
We both took lessons from the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we were kids, and other than just giving guitar lessons, he would unite all the students, and then he would try to get them to either form a band or at least like throw a little gig together, like a little set of somebody played drums, somebody played bass, and whoever was capable of playing the songs would kind of all get together and have these little student showcases.
Okay.
So I did that, and then my first actual band was in 6th grade. It was kind of a bunch of students that stuck together. And then we were playing shows, as much as 12-year-old kids can in the scene. And we did that for a couple years. And then when I was, you'd go to bazaars and stuff and local festivals. And for me, whenever I would see a band on stage playing, when it was like late in the night and there's people dancing and all that kind of stuff, that's when I'd be that little kid, like just standing in awe kind of, and just thinking, this is it. This is the good stuff. This is what I want to do.
How about you?
Well, I remember starting, and when I first started, I feel like it was, I just wanted it as a hobby. And then very quickly, it was almost like I got addicted to it. And I was playing every day. And I remember forcing myself to play. Even like if it was for 15 minutes to run through scales, run through something, because I went from wanting to do this as a hobby to being the best around at it. And it's surprising, like thinking back at it, like how quick it was. So I always wanted to be the best, I guess, like right after starting to play, actually.
Now, Frank, when we met originally was at the NEPA Scene open mic.
Yep.
And you were kind of doing some acoustic stuff, and then you were doing some loop pedal stuff too. And I remember you were started playing under the name Mellifluous, but solo. So how long were you doing that for on your own?
A short period of time, definitely less than a year. I was in another band with Joe, actually two other bands. One was like an originals band, one was a cover band. And then at some point I was in 5 bands of all different kinds. I was in a gent band, at another originals band, a cover band, an acoustic duo, and all this other stuff. And then for one reason or another, those all kind of stopped. So at that point I went solo for a little because I wanted to keep going. And I liked all those bands for their own reasons, but it was really hard being in 5 bands. So I did the solo thing for a while, and then Joe came over. Forget why you were there. Probably for something important. And
extremely important. Yeah.
and we talked about jamming again, and we had our drummer Scam, and we kind of just said let's jam next week, and we jammed. That's when we wrote Snake Pit, which is one of the songs on our initial EP. We wrote that day, and from there we knew we were going to be Mellifluous as a full band, and kind of combine all those aspects of all the different 5 bands I was in, kind of boil them down into one, playing all the covers we can possibly want to play, and then of course the important stuff, which is writing our own material.
So where did you first hear the word Mellifluous?
I was reading a book. I can't think of the name of it, but at the time we were looking for a band name, and I came across this word because somebody says, "Oh, let's just have it be just one word." You know, there's a million bands like that. So I saw this word, and I'm like, I kind of got it from the context of the sentence, and then I remember looking it up, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely English, you know. And mellifluous is a
surprisingly
it's an adjective in the English language. It's defined as a voice or sound that is pleasant to the ear. And then its layman's terms came from honey flow. Honey flow, something sweet that you enjoy, you know.
Okay.
And from there we kind of talked about it, and that was the name.
Now, how many ways have you heard people mispronounce this?
Most people get it initially. The ones that screw it up
most is debatable. Most is debatable.
Yeah. Most people that know how to read get it right off the bat. And then we meet a lot of people that, you know, reading isn't their, it's not their strong.
It's not their interest.
We get the Disney movie Maleficent. We get that, and it's like, okay, same prefix, yes, but then fluous.
And then we think, why didn't we think of that? Like, like why? Yeah.
Disney beat us to that one. You know,
say I don't know if you want to tussle with Disney.
No, they'll be knocking on your doors quick.
So I know a lot of bands like to kind of come up with labels, like we're groove metal, or we're experimental rock, or they kind of come up with some kind of descriptor. But I notice you guys kind of simply just say that you're a rock band. Why is that?
Well,
I personally don't like trying to stick yourself in a genre. There's so many genres, subgenres out there. I personally never thought it was important to label. When someone asks me, "Oh, what do you guys sound like? What band?" We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. How about you just listen and you make up your own mind? Right. Because there's for example, metal alone, how many subgenres are there? It's mind blowing. So I remember having this conversation multiple times with many people, and I just say rock, and listen to it, and you tell me what you think, because I'm curious.
Right.
Like, what band do we sound like? Because I couldn't really tell you, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We talked more about, I guess, an elevator pitch than a genre. I remember we were on the one radio show, and we said he was like, if Pink Floyd and Stone Temple Pilots had a baby,
and a very good looking baby.
And that baby grew up listening to Tool and stuff like that. But yeah, we just, we're based in the rock of, it's blues influenced, and try to keep it a little progressive, and we're a 3-piece power trio, 3-piece rock band. So
Keep it nice and simple.
Yeah, keyword
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, how did you kind of develop that sound? Was that through the jamming, or do you kind of have an idea coming in of what you wanted this to be like?
Definitely through some jamming. One thing we were always able to do was to meet up for practice, have some drinks and stuff, and make a bunch of noise for, say, 45 minutes without stopping. And from there, we take bits and pieces and cool moments and mesh them in the songs.
And when I first started playing with him, and what I played with you and Scam in 2 bands previous to Mellifluous, and even playing in the cover setting, I felt chemistry with him and Scam immediately, which carried over the second band, which carried over Mellifluous. So coming into Mellifluous, we had experience with each other on a musical level and personal level. So it didn't feel like a new band to me when I was playing with both of them.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and we never really talked about the angle we wanted to go, or we never had like an objective of the kind of music we want to write. It was just 3 of us together. Joe and I would know the key, and the 3 of us would pick a groove or pick multiple grooves just in the moment, and just let whatever happen. So it's not like a target of a certain style. It was just more of our 3 personalities coming out through our
sort of like that cliche, just play and what comes out. And we never ever like talked about what we wanted to sound like or anything.
That's probably the best way to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
Because if you kind of come in with certain expectations, then you're kind of limiting yourself already.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, we never talked too much about what one of us should do or should not do. Even with our covers, we kind of try to personalize them as well. We'll write in certain parts in the middle of a cover song, or the solos. When there's a solo in the song, we'll just take it our own direction.
Okay.
Yeah, once Joe starts playing above the 12th fret, it's kind of like whatever happens.
And Frank, hey, if he wants to add 1, 2, 12 solos on those songs, I'm okay with that. Spice it up a little bit. But.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of people say they like about coming to see us play, even cover sets, is that we never played every song the same way.
See, I prefer that too. If I'm going to go see a cover band, I don't want to you could just play the CD if you want to hear it sound like that.
Exactly.
To me, I want to see, well, what is their interpretation of these songs? So what kind of songs do you guys usually cover?
Cover a bunch of rock, man. No, we do like 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s rock. Bunch of, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Foo Fighters,
Queens of the Stone Age.
What else am I forgetting?
A lot, but
yeah. Black Crowes. A few Black Crowes songs now.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much whatever song we hear on the radio and we like, or maybe a deeper cut that's just a song on your own personal playlist that you want to share with others.
Okay.
If it's not a popular song, you can cover it and people might not sing along to it, but at least they can ask about it and hopefully add it to their own playlist.
Right. Well, let's get into your original stuff. Talk about your debut EP is Just High Enough. So how did the recording of that go? From I did listen to your interview with Popko, and it was so it was a little bit of a kind of start and stop sort of thing.
Yeah, we had all the songs written, and then I remember we were in the studio, and then there was a headline in the paper, and it was like Kobe Bryant died, and then right next to it was COVID-19 spreading beyond China. So like right when we went to record our EP, the pandemic hit. So we ended up scrapping the half recordings we had, and we had to pretty much record during the lockdown is when we recorded that EP. So we recorded most stuff in my house. I remember ordering a bunch of microphones and anything I could, setting up a room to record in. And from there, we would send it out to our friend out west. He works in LA and he does all sorts of music stuff. Shout out Tony DeMito. And yeah, he's the one that mixed and mastered all of our stuff.
Okay. So you said you told Popco the kind of the original version wasn't something you were happy with, so you kind of went back to the drawing board with the whole thing, really.
Yeah. Being that we tried to record it mostly ourselves, there was a lot of learning the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
But then we make a mistake or something, and Tony would say, all right, I need all that back again, do it over, all right. But we did it that way, and we took our time with it, being that we weren't playing shows or anything else at the time.
Right.
There wasn't much going on, so kind of just took our time and waited till we got what we wanted.
So that's kind of the being thrown in the deep end, essentially, trying to figure out, how to record these things and stuff. What kind of lessons did you take away from having to do it yourself in a lot of ways?
Have patience.
Yeah. Set aside enough time. Have patience.
Do research before you try.
Have the material prepared.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And I've heard this with other artists too. And being that most of our stuff is improvised on the spot, well, when you're in the studio, you can't just do it over every night.
Right.
Like when we play live. And same goes with our originals. We'll jam on it, we'll extend parts, yada, yada. But we had to pick the one way we wanted to do it for the EP. And that was probably the hardest part. Once we had our microphones in the right spot and everything was dialed in, it was, how do we want to play this just once rather than never thinking about that aspect?
Right.
Because we're so used to jamming on songs. Like, okay, how do we really want to, the solo section sound, because we're up there on stage and just, doing whatever pretty much. And that was the tough thing, I think, for me, because I'm so used to jamming with him, not only in Mellifluous, but the two previous bands, like we talked about earlier, doing a cover and throwing, another couple solo sections on there or something. So it was like, okay, we got to just do this and kind of pick a way we're going to do it for the record. So that was probably the toughest part for me.
Yeah, especially being that we weren't playing any live shows at the time.
Yeah.
So you couldn't even have that reference point of how do I do this when we're out? But Joe and I would sit down and we'd talk about that, and our drummer at the time, Mike Scamarakis, he kind of had it down solid, but it was me and Joe that really had to attempt to nail it down.
Mm-hmm.
So what when you're finally getting all these pieces together, how do you know when it sounds right?
Kind of just know. For me, it would just feel right. Like I would know that was a good take, and I would kind of record and reflect on the things that I did and hear it back and go, okay, I'm going to do that, but cleaner, without all the mistakes. So it was a lot of playing the track over and over again, like for example, for a solo, and just kind of taking it a bunch of times, finding out what was something maybe catchy or more iconic than just a bunch of like riddling off guitar licks, and then stick with that and kind of relearn what I did without thinking about it.
So were you guys doing all of the songwriting kind of separate and then putting it together, or how did that work?
No, we were all together when we wrote all the songs.
Yeah,
Okay.
But just the recording of the solos, the bass and guitar solos. Yeah, for where the verse and chorus, that kind of stuff, we kind of had that boiled down to a certain way. But when it came to solos, that's where we had to pay more attention.
Well, let's go through the album kind of track by track and talk about maybe some of the inspirations behind some of these songs. First up is Indulge Yourself. Tell us about that.
Well, Joe's the genius behind that.
I mean, that bass line, come on.
Yeah, with a bass line like that, it speaks for itself.
I think that's what, if I remember correctly, is that what pretty much led us to write? It was right from that bass line, right? We did a jam or something, and it sort of just went from there. Or am I incorrect?
No, you're correct on that one. It was, we're like, all right, we should write another song. Joe, do you have anything? And he just started playing that bass line, and it was like, all right, we're done. Pack it up, guys. We're good. I'll write some lyrics tonight and that kind of thing. But the lyrics are about, we play a lot of bar gigs as well as, other things. And at the bar, there'll be like a dozen TVs playing sporting events, and people are on their phone or just talking amongst themselves. And we're on the stage trying to make magic happen. Some of the
trying our best.
Yeah, with the things Joe and I do with the strings and stuff, it's like a lot of times it seems like there's only a few people that you can tell are really paying attention that come up after the set and go, yo, you guys are awesome. I really like what you were doing with this and that. But for the most part, there's everything else going on. So Indulge Yourself is kind of like an answer to that, where it's like, you guys should maybe pay a little bit more attention to what we're doing. And it sounds selfish saying it like that, but when I go see a band, I'm even if someone's talking, I'm like totally focused on the band, what they're doing, what everybody's doing individually and how it meshes together. Mm-hmm. And I've been at even concerts where people want to talk, and politely you have to be like, hey, you hold on a second. Something else important is happening right now. Right. And then after the set or after the song, we could talk about whatever you want. So that's what inspired those lyrics.
When the sports bars started becoming popular, I think that was such a detriment to live entertainment in general, because they just put TVs on every single wall. And I don't know, maybe that was a cost saving sort of thing, where it's like, well, there's your entertainment, right? And just throw up a, $500 TV on the wall, and now we don't have to hire somebody to, play in that corner, because there's always going to be something but it's like, who does that? Like, who sits at the bar and watches the TV there? Like, there's too much. It's like, it's too much. It's overstimulation. I don't understand that whole thing at all. Like, that drives me crazy when I go out places and that's like all you see, especially if there's somebody trying to play. Like, that's incredibly frustrating.
Right.
Well, let's keep going. Next one is Stay.
Stay. Yeah, so those were some chords. There's some jazz type chords in that song, and those were some chords that I learned like a while back, and I remember just messing with them for years. And I remember my grandpa showed me this like 13th chord, and I just remembered it because it looked weird. But it was like this chord progression. It took me years to kind of figure out, because I would just mess with these chords and it was just messing with chords. But at one point I was like, all right, these chords are pretty important to me. They need to be in a song somehow. And with the help of Joe and his bass lines, I kind of got to put them together how we liked them and everything. And the intro starts off pretty cool. That was our drummer Mike messing around with some different time signatures and stuff like that.
That intro, I think, is a classic case of us, trying to be a little bit of show off,
Yeah.
a little spice in there again, But again, we're just a rock band, so.
Yeah, so that kind of thing. And the song was about me meeting my girlfriend at the time and kind of meeting in a weird random way, and just immediately, since the day we met, we were just like, it was like we known each other our whole lives. So that's what the lyrics are about.
That's kind of how I feel about Frank. I feel like my entire life.
The lyrics are about me and Joe, actually.
Yeah.
It's okay, guys. You don't have to hide your.
Yeah, no, we're not now. It's out in the open now.
All right. So next up, we have Smooth Groove.
Smooth Groove, yeah. So I'd say that's where the Pink Floyd comes from in the elevator pitch.
Okay.
And we didn't mean that at the time, but listening back, that's what people say is Pink Floyd. And then my vocals, a couple friends have told me that it reminds them of like the Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots type vocals. So
okay,
right there. Yeah, I think that one that was a song where we were practicing and jamming and all this stuff. Took a little bit of a break, went back, picked up our instruments, and we played that song exactly how we played it the first time ever on a whim, just jamming, is exactly how that song is on the EP, as far as the instruments go.
Okay.
So it was just the chords I was coming up with on the spot, and Joe's big bass slide and everything like that, and even the bridge in it was all just spontaneous. And we would record all of our jams, and that's where we'd listen back. And that was a song where it was like a one and done take as far as the structure of the song.
Now, what's the inspiration lyrically?
Lyrically, well, the title is more about the music, but lyrically, the inspiration is about just kind of being a little lost in life and not knowing, where to go. One decision you make could take you down a totally different path, and kind of trying to maneuver through all of that while living your life normally and just going like through the day-to-day stuff, kind of like the bigger picture of, all right, some of these decisions are going to be really important for where I end up 2-5 years down the road.
Okay. So. And so next up is Snake Pit.
Yeah, Snake Pit.
Was that one of the first two, you would say, technically?
That was the song we wrote that the first practice as Mellifluous.
Okay.
Where it was the three of us for the first time ever. Again, we all knew each other. We all played in bands together. But it was like, all right, we're going to do a 3-piece thing. And that one kind of that was one where we wrote it the day of. I remember being so excited because I go, wow, this band could be a band again. I was doing solo stuff, and that song was the uniting of everything Mellifluous intended to be about, was kind of like, rock riffs and just a giant jam of stuff where we're also trying to keep it somewhat relevant for people that don't like to listen to 11-minute guitar solos.
It's about finding that balance, I guess. And we're trying to get that balance in there.
Right. Once you get enough of a following, then they want that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once you come to a couple Mellifluous shows,
then
you'll find those subtleties, and
and
all right, let's see what they do this time.
Every other time, each and every time you come to see Mellifluous, you wonder, is Frankie's guitar solos getting longer? And that's what's happening. I mean, so.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And I'm okay with that. I don't even notice it, to be honest with you.
That's always the balance at the open mic too, is like, you want people to jam, but at the same time, it's like, we have like 20 other people got to get up here.
Yeah. You're like, all right, everybody gets 3 songs. Like, you guys, you get 1.5. Cut the jam. Yeah. I know where you're going to put it. Cut that one.
I know what you're up to.
What if we ran up to 2?
Ran up to 2, but no more than, it's like, all right, you get 3 songs, but you only get 4 guitar solos. That's it. Yeah. So that was the first song we ever wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Just High Enough.
title track.
Right. Now, where did that come from?
That one came from, well, Just High Enough could be, could mean a couple different things if you think about it.
If you think hard about it.
Whatever do you mean?
Yeah. Because, being not high enough, that kind of sucks. But then being too high could suck a lot more sometimes.
Again, find the middle ground.
Yeah. It's kind of all about that sweet spot, and other than in substance abuse, kind of in life as well, you don't want to get too caught up in any of the bullshit of maybe what's on the news or what people are raving about that's really not important. And it's kind of like being above that hump of the bullshit.
So you felt like that kind of encompassed the whole EP?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we stand for, is to, we all three of us, and Scam, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He's
with us.
Yeah, he's not dead.
He's with someone, not with us. He's with someone.
He's around.
Yeah, he's there.
He's moving out west, so
okay.
we've had a fill-in drummer, but for this EP, he was there through all of it and everything.
Yeah. He was technically with us.
Yeah, he was with us at the time. We're all like three dudes that we can go out and we're not going to pick a fight. We're not going to argue with people or get in anybody's way. We kind of just want to have a good time and just have fun and enjoy life and the things that it has to offer. So that's something we tried to represent in that song and in the whole EP. Just whatever you're doing with life, do it your own way. Just don't hurt people and
do you.
Yeah, just do you.
Yeah.
As long as you're not infringing on other people's ability to do.
That's pretty much it.
What they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll throw up the cover artwork, which is pretty cool. Where did that come from?
It came from another Nanticoke guy, Kyle Stratton. Shout out to Kyle. He was doing some of our artwork at the time. He did a couple graphic design things for flyers and stuff.
And Frank, not to remember, but you could tell based on that artwork, he was just high enough for that.
Right. Yeah. He hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. He didn't overdo it. He met the middle ground. So.
Right. So yeah, we told him about the EP and he listened to it, and he has a lot of other art that's kind of in that same vein.
Okay.
But after speaking with him and going over maybe the things we wanted and all that, that's what he sent us. And right away we were cool with it. We thought it was awesome.
Well, hopefully, Facebook won't kick us off for showing drawn boobies.
Yeah.
Just one. There's one. So it's the other one's on the other side. So maybe we'll get off.
Hashtag free the nipple.
So where do you, having developed this, different sound and stuff, where do you think fit in the local music scene?
That's probably the hardest part.
I don't know if we do. I mean, I don't know if we really do.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because we
don't.
Yeah, I don't know of any bands that sound like us, and we've gotten that a lot. We some of the places we play out regularly, well, people will come out and tell us, I only come to this place when you guys are playing. And that's a huge compliment to us. Huge compliment. So I can't think of any bands that really sound like us.
Yeah. Sometimes the area has a lot of great metal bands and punk bands, that kind of stuff. And then there's a big country music scene in the area.
Good top 40 bands too.
Yeah, top 40 bands, and
there's kind of an indie rock sort of stuff too in there.
And we're kind of not really any of that.
Right.
So
we're rock.
So we do feel a little out of place sometimes, like trying to get on a bill with a bunch of other originals bands. And there's some cool ones, there's some cool rock bands out there, but not totally local. So, so yeah, we don't know where we fit in, and we don't try to fit in. We don't try to not fit in.
Right.
But there's
Just what
there's
happens.
other bands that are similar to us, but we just try to do our own thing and hope that when people come out to see us, they enjoy it.
I think that's something people don't realize about the scene around here. There's a lot of bands kind of like us that don't really fit any genre. They're their own thing. I think that's really cool. I don't think people realize that enough about the scene around here, is that there's a lot of unique bands. If you go out and you could see a band you've never seen before musically, and treat yourself to that.
Right.
So I think that's what's cool about the scene. Like, people don't realize that enough. There's a lot of unique bands out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to be a part of the, NEPA music scene and all that. And there's a lot of great talent all around where you can go out and you can see any band at any place and they're solid. They're solid, great vocalists, solid music all around. And yeah, so we're definitely happy to be involved with the scene in that way.
So what are some of your favorite venues that you guys like to play, or, where do you think you guys usually go over really well?
The casino is pretty good.
Yeah,
A couple
we played
weeks
the
ago.
Hive, the old Bar Louie.
New Hive
Oh, okay.
Bar in the casino. That was a nice big stage. A lot of people came out. We brought a bunch of people, and then
They redid a lot of that, right?
yeah, they added some cool features, and yeah, we were like I said, we brought a lot of people out, and then people walking by stuck around and kind of met some new people playing. That was our first time playing there, but we're booked there a bunch more now.
Nice.
Played a hometown gig last Saturday at the Parkway in Nanticoke. That's a shout out to Norm and Lorelei. Norm's our sound guy also when we're on the road sometimes, and they're like great friends of ours. So they have bands all the time. Wednesday to Saturday they have bands. So whenever they're right down the road from my house, which is where we practice. So if we have a practice, we'll head down there and catch the rest of the band set.
I feel like that's a great venue too. That's not maybe most people aren't familiar with, because especially with Norm, like we have him on retainer, I guess, in a way. Yeah, he one, in my opinion, the best sound guy in this area, and to be there with a stage, I think that's one of the most intimate gigs you could have. I feel like to go see a band, and then you go in there and the sound's amazing, of course. So that's a great venue and one of my favorite to play.
Definitely. So we had a good time over the weekend. Pisano Family Wines in Hunlock Creek. That's a great outdoor venue that we play. Have like a bunch of fire pits and stuff set up. And they're just a winery. They have like domestic drinks and stuff too, but they kind of do their own thing in a way.
One of the most unique spots in the area too.
Yeah. Those three places that we just named are all totally different animals. But
Yeah.
we play all over the place. We're at the River Grill. We're at River Grill this Saturday. 8 to 11 at River Grill, full band.
Nice.
And that'll be our first time playing there, so we're excited about that. We've played like the King's College bar circuit, like Beer Boys, Sununez,
Oh, okay.
that kind of thing, and that's really fun. We have a bunch of friends our age and a little younger that they go there and they go hard, So so we're hoping to have all those guys go down to River Grill.
Yeah.
Right.
This Saturday. So yeah, I can't think of any bad gigs. Like most places we play are always good, and we either bring a crowd out. I remember we brought a huge crowd at the Susquehanna Brewing Company. For whatever reason, we had people that we know from all sorts of places just happen to make it out to there that night. But whether we bring people out or we play a place and have a new crowd, we get to meet a bunch of people, and most unfamiliar faces come come up and they like the music and what we do and stuff. So playing new places is always fun.
Now, do you adjust kind of your set a little bit depending on where you're playing?
Yeah. Yeah, we've been jamming for a long time now. So we have a wide selection of songs. You know, if it's an older crowd, we could play all the classic rock stuff, and maybe we'll throw in some harder songs that other bands don't usually play. And then we'll always try to do that. And then we have, you know, like our dance type songs.
Yeah. If you want to call them dance, yeah.
Yeah.
Dance-ish.
Yeah. Dance-ish, sing-along hits. And then we always play our originals, and we kind of always try to play songs that we're uniquely known for.
So for your cover shows, you know, how do you choose what songs to cover? And, you know, you said about kind of giving your own sort of style to some of them. How do you know what the ones that are maybe going to fit, you know, within those, that people can still recognize it, but that you can still kind of, you know, play around a little bit?
Stick to the set list, right?
What I kind of like about us is we don't print out a set list and we're going to do this, you know, 1 through 15.
Okay.
We kind of just go with what we're feeling on stage. We kind of like, we've been playing enough that we look at the crowd. What's the crowd feeling? What's the vibe? You know, are they feeling Black Crowes? Are they feeling Grateful Dead? Like, you know, those are two drastically different, you know, bands.
Sure.
And I feel like we just fly by the seat of our pants. And, you know, and I like that because it doesn't sound robotic, if you will. Like you see some bands, you see them every night. They're doing the same songs, playing to the tracks.
Right.
You know who you are. And, you know, we don't do that. And because we try to pride ourselves on our musicianship as well and try to keep things interesting, but yet do what the crowd wants as well. And again, find the middle ground.
Yeah, our sound guy Norm would always bust our balls because him and I are cool. Yeah, definitely mine. But he would go, "All right, give me a set list so I know what's coming up." And then I remember the one day he crumbled up, he threw it at us. He's like, "I don't even know why the hell I asked for this thing." It's not a set list. It's a song list. It's a list of the songs we play, so we don't forget what we play. And
right.
And then it's kind of like we do have a structure at times if we're playing like only a 60-minute set for the day, you know, in like a big lineup of bands, we'll kind of have a go-to. But if it's like a 3-4 hour cover gig,
yeah, who knows what's going to happen at that point, yeah. We don't know what's going to happen.
We kind of go by the crowd. You know, we'll play a song, and if people are really into it, we'll stay in that vein. And if people are kind of getting bored of it, we'll try to switch it up. And like I said, we always play our originals and that kind of stuff, but try to give the crowd what they want, and we just feed off of the energy of the room.
Always try to take requests too.
Oh, okay.
Always.
Always. Oh, yeah. We'll play songs that are not on the set.
Yeah.
Song
or
list.
we've never done before pretty much in our lives. And so we try to do that as well.
Yeah, that's always fun. Sometimes we'll do that, and then it's a whole new song that we play every night after that.
It's happened numerous times, actually. So. People want to hear their Tom Petty.
Yeah, of course.
So you're learning to play these songs, figuring out how they work and everything when you're not winging it. And does that have an influence on the original stuff at all? Like breaking down these songs and kind of picking them apart, seeing how they work essentially. Does that kind of play into, you know, how you guys do your own stuff at some point?
I would say, yeah, definitely. Every song that we play, every song I've ever learned influences the music we write. You know, it just kind of just comes out of the hands, and your hands are used to playing whatever you kind of focus on the most.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that even when we play a cover and we throw, you know, like I said, another couple solo sections on or something.
Couple.
Yeah, couples being generous. when we started, we were just in the cover band, him and I, when I first started playing with him. And I feel like knowing that we could go off and do our own thing, there's almost that level of trust in one another.
Right.
Yeah.
That if I hear what he's doing, I'll be able to follow him. He hears what I'm doing. So like everyone's in sync. And that's another great thing. We're not playing to a track, you know, we're not playing to a metronome or anything, you know, and I like that. So I feel like that playing those covers, starting out and being able to take it wherever and everyone's on the same page. I feel like that kind of spilled into our original music and being able to, it made us more in sync, I think.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see if we got any comments over here. Anything that looks interesting.
I hope your dad tuned in.
Well, let's hope not. Have to censor that comment.
Gus says he's drinking Parlor right now. So.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna crack one of those.
Yeah, great. Shameless plug.
Shame.
He says, "Let's go, Frank."
Hey, cheers.
Robin sends her love. Thank you, Robin.
That's good stuff.
Did you get butterscotch or?
I got the birch beer, my go-to.
Robin also agrees. She says the solo jam when you all come together is always top notch.
Thank you, Robin.
Let's see, Deneen says you're awesome.
Thanks, Mom.
Nah, it's some other Deneen, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Very common name.
yeah. I totally didn't ask her to say that.
Is anything else that you guys want to throw in there? Make sure that you do before we wrap up here.
Yeah, I would like to put it out there to the masses that, like I said, unfortunately, our original drummer Mike Skamarakis is going to be moving away. We do have a drummer right now that we've been obviously playing shows with for a while. He's awesome too, Mr. Steve Ajinski.
A 40-pound head fan.
A 40-pound head, yeah. Yep. But yeah, we are right now hosting auditions for drummers for the future. And this is a great thing to do for that, because people know we like jam. These are the kind of songs we cover and kind of our attitude when it comes to writing, stuff like that. So if anybody out there is a drummer that's looking for some work, please hit us up. You know, we play every weekend and check out more of what we do. Yeah, so we're taking some auditions.
And are you guys working on any original stuff right now?
Yep. Yeah, we're going to be recording another EP shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have Steve on drums, and I also play a little bit of drums, so I've been doing a little bit of that in the writing process, and Joe and I have been getting together, writing some riffs and some lyrics and stuff. So yeah, we have 3 songs done. We want to get to maybe 5 or 6 before we start to record all the way, but we are writing. We're always writing. So we got to get around to recording soon.
Now, you guys going to do this on your own again, or are you guys going to go into a studio now that now that everything's open again? And, you know.
Yeah, so we're actually going to record with the studio here at the Special Guest app.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know, let's talk about Special Guest. So you guys kind of signed a like a management deal with Special Guest. How did that come about?
So when I was doing solo gigs, when I was all by myself between bands.
When he was in his prime.
Yeah. I started working with Special Guest app, and I don't even remember how that initial introduction happened, but it was really good at the time. And, you know, they would book me places I never played before, and they would take care of me. Everything was straightforward. You know, the money was good and that kind of stuff. So they were always awesome. And then kind of got away from it a little, definitely the pandemic and stuff.
Sure.
Kind kind of didn't work with them, but they hit us up earlier in the year and they said they see the stuff we've been doing and that kind of thing. And I had already had the relationship with Chris and Robin. So we came here, kind of met with them, talked about some things. And we agreed that it was a good fit. So we've been working with them for, was it 6 months now? Around there.
Okay.
And yeah, we've really been enjoying it. Our agent, Angelica, is awesome. She takes care of us. She's always on top of things. And then we've met some great people, all you guys here, John Fry, wherever he went. It seems like the whole group is really cool and always excited about like doing new things. And you have, of course, thank you for having us, Rich.
Of course, yeah.
So with all that being said, we've been working together for a majority of the year, and we plan on keeping doing that because it's been going well. They've helped us get into some places that usually wouldn't answer our emails and introduce us to other new places. And, the merch booth thing is great. We got a whole line of new merch. You can find that linked on our Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that.
Yeah, now we're not going directly to venues spam folders. We're going right in that inbox.
Yeah.
There we go. There's.
Yeah. So again, here's some of the swag right here. But yeah, they help us out.
Off the camera. Glistens.
Yes. So I so far they've been nothing but great, and it's really enjoyable to work with them and to do the video shoot we did and the merch and booking, content creation, and everything else. They're awesome people. So we plan on keeping doing that.
I was going to say, what are maybe some of the places that they've gotten you into that maybe you hadn't played before?
Definitely Hive Bar.
Yeah.
And I used to email Bar Louie, even though it's different. It's different now.
Sure,
yeah.
Every like 2 weeks I would send him an email and never got anything back. And I would go in there and excuse me. I would go in there and I would say, hey, I would like to book my band with you guys. Who can I talk to that books bands? And they would say, oh, just email us. And I'm like, no, I tried that.
Yeah.
So we've done that kind of thing with so many places, and then just at the end of the night, getting off the stage for the night and packing up the car and everything, and then sitting there and having a haggle with the bartender or the owner, the bar owner, and all right, well, how much are you going to pay us tonight?
Now we have Angelica to do that.
Yeah, so now Angelica gets to deal with all that fun stuff. We could just focus. It's good because honestly, we can focus more on the music side of things.
Yeah.
And
which is where it should be.
Yeah, of course. And when we first started working with them, there was actually even more work went off the stage because we were talking about goals and stuff like that, which is great. But at this point, we're still always trying to grow and build and do new exciting things, but they handle a lot of the stuff so where we can focus more on just the music. Yeah.
What are some of those goals? What do you guys want to do down the road?
So, of course, record an EP. We'd like to book a tour for some time in maybe the spring next year. Book like a tour down the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get our social media numbers up a little bit, do some more YouTube content.
Make sure you're following these guys.
Yeah, please subscribe.
I feel like, especially number one is get more original music out there because we, what we have 6 songs out there now officially, and we still have material left to be released too. So I feel like that's the big thing is we still have a lot more that we could give original wise. So that's gonna be great, and I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Right. Yeah. A lot of growing and expanding with the path we're already on.
Well, speaking of that one other song, Holy Grail, we should talk about that one too, because you guys have a music video for that. How did the looks like you guys kind of shot in like a field or something? How did that? What was that shoot like?
That shoot was a lot of fun. We
Is that the word you're using?
so it was actually the field right down the street from my house. Anybody that has ever driven a quad or side by side or whatever through the woods of Nanticoke.
And I'm sure millions have.
Yeah, millions.
There's millions of people out there.
Yeah, so a lot of people like from town recognized right where we were at, and it just seemed like a cool spot. You know, we worked with Novro Studios on that one, and kind of told them a little bit about the spot and where we were going, and then my girlfriend's Uncle Sean, he let us use his quad and side by side. So we got to get everything. There was a parking lot by the woods entrance. And then it was cool. We got to kind of rip around on this side by side and just keep hauling equipment out there. Like so many drums at a time would fit, and we'd ride out to the spot and then come back. It was like a half mile into the woods.
And then when we realized we had to bring a generator as well, we didn't exactly rip around when we had to drag that, you know.
Right.
So you can imagine that, you know, image of in a side by side, and one guy is hanging right like this and dragging an entire generator on a dirt mound kind of road. Because it wasn't exactly paved.
Right. Yeah.
So you could picture that image. So.
Yeah, doing off-road stuff on like a coal road, and the generator didn't fit in the side by side. So we had somebody drive, and then we took turns hanging out the doorway and just holding it by the handle and using the wheels on the generator to roll it out there. And I think at that point,
I questioned my position in the band.
Yeah, Eric and Sarah Navrosky, they were looking at us like, what the hell did we get ourselves into? You know, like, what are these guys doing? But we ended up pulling it all off, and it was once everything was set up, it was a lot of fun being in front of, you know, they were great. So the camera stuff was cool, and we thought the shot went well, you know, picking out the background of like exactly what angle we were going to go and that kind of thing. That was a lot of fun. So we definitely plan to do some more music videos in the future.
So what made you do this for this particular song? What makes this song special that's kind of released separately? Is it like kind of a single sort of thing?
We had it for a while, and we thought it was a good, catchy song to where it can stand alone in its own release. And being that we got to just release it as a single, there was only the one song to focus on as far as the music recording went. So it was a good time to have the time and funds and everything to do a video with it.
It felt right. Like the song was there, it was done. We really wanted to get a video out there, and it just felt right. That just meshing it together.
Yeah.
So other than quads and things like that, what is Nanticoke like? We don't really hear a lot about Scranton.
It's a booming metropolis.
Yeah.
It's booming.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of great. I have a lot of friends there. Joe's from there, and Mike Skamarakis, our original drummer, is from there, and Steve Ajinski is also from Nanticoke. So all members of Mellifluous have been from Nanticoke, and none of us met each other from going to school.
Well,
we
funny.
all have the age gap of being away from that. So I met Joe through Lenny, our guitar teacher, and then my brother went to school with Mike, our original drummer. And I remember being really young, and when I was in the band in middle school, and he would come over and he'd go, "Hey man, if you ever need a drummer for your band, let me know." And he was probably in like 5th grade at the time, you know. So that ended up working out. And then Steve, we knew from just being in another band from Nanticoke, because he was in 40 Pound Head, is in 40 Pound Head. He was a guitar player, but he's always been a drummer at heart. So he filled in last summer when Mike had a temp job away for the summer. And Mike came back. We were drumming and stuff, but yeah. So Nanticoke, there's some people give it a bad rep, but if you know cool people from Nanticoke, it's just another town. You know, there's some stuff going on there.
Yeah,
there's
some stuff going on.
Yeah, go to the Parkway. You can pretty much experience all in Nanticoke if you just go to the Parkway.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a Saturday. Yeah.
And there's other bands from Nanticoke as well.
Yeah. 40 Pound Head is from Nanticoke. Let me see here. Oh, Send Request. All the original members from Send Request all went to Nanticoke. Actually, Aaron, the original bass player, we were in a band together when I was in middle school. He played guitar at the time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, those guys are freaking awesome and they're huge,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And they all walked the halls. They graduated like a year before I did.
And a totally different sound too than what
Right.
you guys are doing, and then what 40 Pound Head is doing. So
Yeah,
like a little
yeah.
bit of everything over there.
Yeah, a lot of musicians come from there. And like I said, the artist, Kyle Stratton, who did the EP art, Nanticoke, yeah, we homegrown, you know.
Got its own little thing over there. So what's next? What you guys have coming up? You have the River Grill coming up.
River Grill this Saturday, full band.
What else are we looking forward to?
Getting to work on recording the EP. That's going to be coming up soon. Like within a month, we'll be definitely laying down some permanent tracks, that kind of thing.
Next month will be at Parkway, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, the exact date, that's next month, right? And then Pisano's, another place, the winery mentioned, and we'll be at next month.
Pisano Family Wines, we're playing. They're going to have an Oktoberfest.
Oh, cool.
So I have to talk to them. I think they're going to do a couple other bands, and then we're going to be the headliner at the end of the night. So that's going to be a big all-day Oktoberfest outdoors. There's a bunch of trees. It's like almost like you're in the woods type setting. So in October, the leaves will be changing colors and stuff. It'll be a great place to hang out. So yeah, some Oktoberfest, some like last minute outdoor gigs while we can. And then we're at the Parkway again. We're at Hive Bar again. We're playing the casino a couple times. I think we have some acoustic and full band stuff that's going on there. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming up.
And your debut EP, Just High Enough, is available now on all streaming platforms. So make sure you go check that out. And boost these guys' social media numbers. See, here's the correct spelling for you. There you go.
That's capital and
and it is English. That is English.
Two L's.
That's in the dictionary.
Yeah, look it up. It's there.
Yeah.
Your autocorrect will not correct it to anything because there's no other words that I'm aware of that's pretty close. So
you're
gonna so you'll know if you typed it in right or wrong. But make sure that you guys follow them and keep an eye out for what they have going on in the very near future. Thank you guys for coming on.
Rich, thank you so much for having us.
Of course, absolutely.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
And if you enjoyed the conversation, please make sure that you like and share and all that good stuff. Make sure that we continue to fight the algorithm for relevance at all times. But thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you here next Wednesday for another episode. Should be something a little different than music, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So we will see you then. And now, will you guys play another song for us? Now you can get dressed in completely different clothes, run over to the stage, which is like right here, like next to us, right? Like. And then play a live show, and also the drummer will come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He'll just
he's in the back. He's warming up now. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll keep these shades on though, just to be safe.
And then we'll have a full firework kind of stage show plan. It'll be like a mini Kiss concert.
Yeah, that'd be great. So stay tuned for that. As soon as we're done here, we're gonna go right into the song. So stay tuned in the stream, and we will see you here next week.